Yes, Janpur. So we'll start with our prayer. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya aviravirmayedhi. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Let we be protected, let we be nourished. Let we strive with energy and vigor. Let our study be enlightening and not give rise to hostility. Om, peace, peace, peace. Lead us to truth and not to untruth. Lead us to enlightenment and not ignorance. Lead us to immortality and not death. Let the self-manifest Atman grow in me. Om, peace, peace, peace. I bow to Govinda, whose nature is bliss supreme, who is the Sadguru, who can be known only from the import of all Vedas, Vedanta, and who is beyond the reach of speech and mind. Speech and mind. So we are studying Vivekachudamani, and we are in a section where the disciple has attained that supreme nature, the supreme union, where there is no diversity. We don't need a ghost to tell us that this world has diverse manifestation. It is already there. We see it, we experience it. What we have to find, that which is the highest common factor. If we try to see, we wear some clothes, we have this society, this world, we wear some clothes, then we wear this body. Behind this body is mind. Behind that mind is intellect. Behind that intellect is, that is what we call the Anandamaya Kosha. That means Shit of bliss. But behind that, what is there? We are exploring to find out that. It is like this. In a circle, there is periphery. As the periphery comes closer to the center, the activities are reduced, or its perimeter is reduced. And when it is at the center, there is no movement. We are to find the center of our being. That is most important. So mostly our attention, our awareness is in the periphery. And we are flabbergasted to see the movement. We are confused about diversity. But once we reach the center of our being, then diversity, though it may appear, but it will not have that adverse effect on us. And By the grace of God, by the grace of gurus, the disciple has reached that state. The grace of God is important. Grace of Guru is also very important. Without that, it is very hard to understand. Though we may read the same passage again and again, but until or unless we have the grace of Guru, grace of God, grace of Scripture, and grace of oneself, one cannot realize this. I'll read from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, but before that, let us read from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. Go ahead, David. David.
Sorry. Now, it is a statement of fact that this world is a tantalus as hell, that we do not know anything about this universe, yet at the same time, we cannot say that we do not know. I cannot say that this chain exists when I think that I do not know it. It may be an entire delusion of my brain. I may be dreaming all the time. I am dreaming that I'm talking to you and that you are listening to me. No one can prove that it is not a dream. My brain itself may be a dream. And as to that, no one has ever seen his own brain. We all take it for granted. So it is with everything. My own body I take for granted. At the same time, I cannot say I do not know. This standing between knowledge and ignorance, this mystic twilight, the mingling of truth and falsehood, and where they meet, no one knows. We are walking in the midst of a dream, half sleeping, half waking, passing all our lives in a haze. This is the fate of every one of us. This is the fate of all sense knowledge. This is the fate of all philosophy, of all boasted science, of all boasted human knowledge. This is the universe.
Yeah, this is the confusion that we find. We know something, but we do not know. For instance, today I was giving an example. We all know what sweetness is, but actually we don't know. Put something sweet on your tongue. Just hold it and see how you observe that sweetness. Actually, when we eat it very quickly, then we think it is sweet. So it is our interpretation that mind interprets that sweetness. So you can experience this. Just hold on your tongue something sweet. It's only an impulse that you will perceive. But we take it for granted that it is sweet, or it is some other like bitter or some other taste. These are interpretation of our senses. We see something and it depends on the seer, what he sees, what he looks at. A stump, for some, it may be a policeman. For some, it may be a thief. For some, it may be a lover. So whatever our mind is stained with, we see this. Many times we can experience this. Say, mirage. So all this we see, we cannot deny that we don't see, but we don't see correctly. So this is the dilemma in between knowledge and ignorance. When we see the objects, But when we see ourselves, our real self, there is no doubt, no dilemma at all. You cannot say that you don't exist. You cannot say that you'll be vanished. No. There it is certain. But whatever is objects have temporary knowledge. Like our dream. When we experience our dream, we cannot deny it. But as soon as we come out of dream, we know it does not exist. Similarly, this world, experience of this world, when we experience, say, I'm talking to you, I cannot deny this. And you're listening to me, you cannot deny. But after a certain time, when we depart from here, then it looks like it is like a dream. Like a dream. Why? Because when we experience this also, we impart our truth. And that impulse that we experience, we give veracity to that impulse. So it is half and half. That is why we cannot say we don't know. And at the same time, we cannot say we know, because this knowledge is only partial knowledge. Yes.
What you call matter or spirit or mind or anything else you may like to call them, the fact remains the same. We cannot say that they are. We cannot say that they are not. We cannot say that they are one. We cannot say they are many. This eternal play of light and darkness, indiscriminate, indistinguishable, inseparable, is always there. A fact, yet at the same time not a fact. Awake and at the same time asleep. This is a statement of facts, and this is what is called Maya. We are born in this Maya. We live in it. We think in it. We dream in it. We are philosophers in it. We are spiritual men in it. Nay, we are devils in this Maya, and we are gods in this Maya. Stretch your ideas as far as you can make them higher and higher. Call them infinite, or by any other name you please. Even these ideas are within this Maya. It cannot be otherwise. And the whole of human knowledge is a generalization of this Maya, trying to know it as it appears to be. This is the work of Nama-rupa, name and form. Everything that has form, everything that calls up an idea in your mind is within Maya. For everything that is bound by the laws of time, space, and causation is within Maya. Let us go back a little to those early ideas of God and see what became of them. We perceive at once that the idea of some being who is eternally loving us, eternally unselfish and almighty, ruling this universe, could not satisfy. Where is the just, merciful God? Asked the philosopher. Does he not see millions and millions of his children perish in the form of men and animals? For who can live one moment here without killing others? Can you draw a breath without destroying thousands of lives? You live because millions die. Every moment of your life, every breath that you breathe is death to thousands. Every movement that you make is death to millions. Every morsel that you eat is death to millions. Why should they die? There is an old sophism that they are very low existences. Supposing they are, which is questionable, for who knows whether the ant is greater than the man or the man than the ant? Who could prove one way or the other? Apart from that question, even taking it for granted that these are very low beings, still, why should they die? If they are low, they have more reason to live. Why not? Because they live more in the senses. They feel pleasure and pain 1,000-fold more than you or I can do. Which of us eats a dinner with the same gusto as a dog or wolf? None, because our energies are not in the senses. They are in the intellect, in the spirit. But in animals, their whole soul is in the senses, and they become mad and enjoy things which we humans never dream of. And the pain is commensurate with the pleasure. Pleasure and pain are meted out in equal measure. If the pleasure felt by animals is so much keener than that felt by man, it follows that the animal's sense of pain is as keen, if not keener, than man's. So the fact is, the pain and misery men feel in dying is intensified a thousandfold in animals, and yet we kill them without troubling ourselves about their misery. This is Maya. And if we suppose there is a personal God like a human being who made everything, these so called explanations and theories which try to prove that out of evil comes good are not sufficient. Let 20,000 good things come, but why should they come from evil? On that principle, I might cut the throats of others because I want the full pleasure of my five senses. That is no reason. Why should good come through evil? The question remains to be answered, and it cannot be answered. The philosophy of India was compelled to admit this.
Yes, so this contradiction that we find. So here what we find, we know something we do not know fully. Whenever we are seeing or perceiving this the objective world, and it is because it is only reflection, a reflection of reality. What reality that we find here is imparted by the self. So let us read from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna also, like this. God alone is the master, and again, he is the servant. This attitude indicates perfect knowledge. So God, God alone is manifesting in so many forms. So it is objectified world. So this attitude indicates perfect knowledge. At first, one discriminates not this, and feels that God alone is real and all else is illusory. Afterwards, the same person finds that it is God himself who has become all this. The universe, Maya, and the living beings. First negation and then affirmation. This is the view held by the Puranas. A bilwa fruit, for instance, include flesh, seeds, and shell. You get the flesh by discarding the shell and seeds. But if you want to know the weight of the fruit, you cannot find it if you discard the shell and seeds. Just so, one should attain Satchidananda by negating the universe. So first we have to discard that this objective world is only outer manifestation. We have to find the real thing. After attaining this, then we can see, oh, this everything has meaning. So one should attain Satchidananda by negating the universe and its living beings. But after the attainment of Satchidananda, one finds that Satchidananda itself has become the universe and the living beings. It is one substance that the flesh and the shell and seeds are made just like butter and buttermilk. Now see how it is happening. It is one. Even something is manifested outside, as an object, this objective world. Actually, this is only same reality, only objectified. So what is being said? If you concentrate outside, you'll miss the bus. But first, if you find, then whatever is there, everything is unifying. Everything has its meaning. Now, it may be asked, how has Satchidananda become so hard? So it is, like he gave example. Now, all elements finally merge in Akasha. all elements. So apparently it is so solid, but actually if you go deep inside, you won't find anything. It's all space. And if you go further, it is a space. So ultimately it merges in space, Akash. Again, at the time of creation, Akasha evolves into Mahat and Mahat into Ahamkara. In this way, the whole world system is evolved. It is the process of involution and evolution. A devotee of God accepts everything. He accepts the universe and its creation, created beings, as well as the individual Satchidanand. Now here there is no confusion. First we have to find the reality. Then we will find this same reality is reflected outside. If you want to catch your shadow, you cannot. But once you find the source of the shadow, then you will know, oh, this is shadow. So at that time, the shadow, you may give some existence also. There is no harm, but it is only a shadow. So first we have to reach the center. After attaining center, then we see, oh, it is only periphery. So kholeri maj, majiri khol. Buttermilk is from milk. So butter and buttermilk. So Sri Ramakrishna, in Sri Ramakrishna we find once we are to attain the central identity, one's identity with the center. And then though something is happening, but it is not happening because you know what is the source of it. You know, like in this country, everything is running smoothly. Why? Because there is a government. So government, because of government, and it is subtle, it runs everything smoothly. So this is the point. Point is, we are to first realize the center, the source of everything. Then there is no harm admitting the manifestation. So here, the student, he reached that. So what happens here? He knows that everything is happening. He's eating, he's going, he's doing everything, but it is not him. It is happening as it were. Api kurvan na kurvanascha bhokta palabhogyapi shaririya pasha viryesha parichinno api sarvagaha. So the translation is, yeah, though doing, yet inactive, though experiencing fruits of past action, yet untouched by them, though possessed of a body, yet without identification with it, though limited, yet omnipresent is he. You see how this happens. When we reach the center that is more important. What happens in periphery, that happens, let it happen. So in Bhagavad Gita also it is said, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukta manyeta tattvavit. The knower of truth knows that I am not doing anything. Things are happening. Things are happening. What? Naiva kinchit karomiti yukta manyeta tattvavit. Pashan ashnan gachan swapan shwasan. Pralapan vissajan unmishan nimishan. All things are happening. But these are happening as objects. So he perceives that, but he knows that it will not affect him. It's like shadow. Shadow may be crushed under a uh, under a vehicle, but that will not touch him. So this is Brahmi Sthiti. One should attain that one. If in the beginning he thinks that this world is real, then he has to suffer miseries. Then with everything, he will have to suffer. So that is why a person of realized soul, he is beyond suffering, though doing, yet inactive. So the center is inactive, but outside the periphery, it is active. So he knows I am the center, and whatever happens in periphery, it will not affect me. It is only object. So though experiencing fruits of past actions, yet untouched by them, because he is well poised within himself. Though possessed of a body, yet without identification with it. Though limited, yet omnipresent is he, because he knows from center everything is projected. So Sri Ramakrishna, we can say that example, we take example of Sri Ramakrishna. Though he was suffering from cancer, but he was not suffering. Only that body or maybe a little of mind, whenever he put his mind there, that would seem to suffer, but he does not suffer. It is difficult to understand, but this way we'll try. Shariram sada santamimam brahmavidam kvachit priya priye na sprishataha tathaiva cha shubhashubhi. Neither pleasure nor pain, nor good nor evil, ever touches this knower of Brahman, who always lives without the body idea. So he knows that this is reflected, this is as if it is there, but he knows that is not touched. See, as we grow in intellect, our physical contact is taken away. Say when you are concentrating on something, even you are hungry, but you will not be aware of that. So it is the awareness that is more important. So here there is a Chandogya Upanishad. It says, Ashariram bhava santam priya priye na sprishataha. That means who has no contact with the body. As Sri Ramakrishna gave example, like a coconut, when it is dry, then if you move like this, it makes a sound, khat, khat, khat. But when it is raw, it is very difficult to take it out fully. But when it is ripe, it is separated from the shell. So like that, ashariram bhava santam priya priye na sprishata. So whatever good or bad, it will not touch him. So similarly, what happens, what is our contact? Ichha, dvesha, sukham, dukkham, sanghata, chetana, dhriti. Our desire, ichha, dvesh, our aversion, ichha, dvesh, sukham, pleasure and pain, sukham, dukkham, sanghata. This system, chetana means awareness of this, and dhriti, we hold it. Sometimes somebody insulted me, I hold for years. Oh, he insulted me. So this way, say like we hold it. So a realized soul knows that it is all seeming. It has no bearing, a real bearing on me. It may look like, because of past uh, practices, not samskara, past practices. So this way he moves on, untouched by anything. So in short, neither pleasure nor pain, nor good nor evil ever touches this knower of Brahman, who always lives without the body idea. We go to the next. Sthuladi sambandha vato abhimaninam sukham cha dukkham cha shubhashubhe cha viddhasta sambandhasya sadatmano munehi kutam shubham va apya shubham phalam va. The what is the purpose? Why it is? Because we want to achieve that state where nothing can touch us. According to Buddha, it is nirvana. Nirvana. That means it is totally extinguished. What is extinguished? The contact of senses and sense objects. You know, how we behave. We have so contact with sense and sense objects that we cannot separate it. And that is why we suffer. The main, say I give example of a vehicle. Vehicle should be on the road, but it should not stuck there. Then there is suffering. It should run without attachment. Then there will be no problem. Sukhe dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddha yujyasva. So yuddha yujyasva, or that yajñarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Whatever is done for the sacrifice, except yajñartha, whatever we do, it has binding capacity. That is why whatever we do, we have to offer that to God. So it will lose the binding capacity. And therefore, it cannot give us suffering. Dukheshu anudvignamana sukeshu vigataspreha vita raga bhaya krodha. So all these are various signs and symptoms. This only can be attained when one is well poised at the center. Then all these he can experience that it is though happening, but it's not happening. He knows that it is all like dream. I'm not talking about it is dream. What I'm saying, it is like dream. We all experience this. Whatever happened yesterday, we cannot even remember it. It looks like dream. But when we experience, we cannot deny. So we sthuladi sambandhavato abhimaninam sukham cha dukkham cha shubhashve cha. So sthula, so let me read the translation. Pleasure or pain or good or evil affects only him who has connections with the gross body, etc., body, mind, etc., and identifies himself with these. How can good or evil or their effects touch the sage who has identified himself with the reality and thereby shattered his bondage? So this cannot affect the realized soul. Apparently you can see, oh, he is suffering, but suffering cannot touch him. As Sri Ramakrishna. So when Swami Turiyanandji, that time Hari Maharaj, he approached Sri Ramakrishna. He said, see, I am so much suffering. But Hari Maharaj told that, I see you are in joy. So when this self has contact with the senses, then suffering is inevitable. So I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. The person who thinks that way, such a an incar sorry, such a person who has that ego, ahankara vimudatma karta aham iti mani. So everything happens prakritehe kriyamanani. Everything happens in prakriti. So, so many people die. We are not affected. But if somebody whom we know or who is our relative, he or she dies, then we are shattered. So it is only contact. That is why what we have to do. Raga dvesha vijuktestu vishayan indriyascharan. One has to interact in this world without attachment or aversion of the objects. Raga dvesha vijuktestu vishayan indriyascharan. We are to act here. We cannot deny this. But how to act? That is in our capacity, in our um, in our in our like within our means. How to interact? That we should not be attached with it, or we should not hate anything. Let it let it happen as it is happening. Then it will not affect us. So sthuladi sambandhavato abhimaninam ahankara vimudatma karta aham iti manyate. So such a person who identifies with it, such a person uh, suffers. But he who has completely separated himself, for him, though it may appear that it is happening, but it will not touch him. Like a dream. In dream, we may see a tiger, but if you are awake, then though heart is palpitating, but there is no harm. So this detachment is important. So he has no contact with this body-mind complex. So though he lives within, but he has no contact. He has severed that contact. Like Buddha, he is established in Abhaya Pratishtha. Okay, we go to the next. Now the question comes, we see the realized soul as Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is realized soul. People used to see him. What is that? Is it false? How can we say that he is without body? So tamasa grastavat. Now he is giving example. Though we see a realized soul like us, but he is not like us. It is like, example is given. Tamasa grastavat bhanat grastopi ravir janaihi grasta ituchate bhrantya hi ajñatva vastu lakshanam. So the translation is, the sun which appears to be but is not actually swallowed by Rahu, is said to be swallowed on occasion, on account of delusion by people not knowing the real nature of the sun. So example is given, an eclipse. So eclipse, what happens? Sun is never touched by the shadow. But people see, Rahu has eaten up the sun. But it's only outer side. It's because of ignorance that we see. So when we see a realized soul is suffering, know for certain it is our misunderstanding of him. He never suffers because he has gone beyond such suffering. Even he do not know what suffering is. So anyway, so this example is given. The sun, which appears to be, but is not actually swallowed by Rahu. Rahu means here shadow, is said to be swallowed on account of delusion by people, not knowing the real nature of the sun. So eclipse happens, or maybe a cloud has come. Cloud cannot touch the sun. But people say, oh, there is no sun today. But it's very much there. Only it is covered by cloud, maybe a big cloud or shadow, a big, we say like wind. At the time of rainy season, the whole sky is, again, whole sky cannot be, what is that, overcasted. Only whatever we see, it is overcasted. It's not that whole sky is overcasted. So it is because of our perception. Now, exemplified. Tadvad dehadi sambandhabhyo vimuktam brahma vittamam pashyanti dehivat mudha sharirabhasa darshana. Similarly, ignorant people look upon the perfect knower of Brahman, who is wholly rid of bondages of the body. So he has no bondage of body. But people see, oh, he is suffering. So what is the difference from us? We also suffer, he is also suffering. People would say that we also suffer from disease, and Sri Ramakrishna also suffered from cancer. See, Holy Mother suffered so much of malaria and this and dysentery and not what, so many things. It is because of our ignorance that we see they are suffering. Similarly, ignorant people look upon the perfect knower of Brahman, who is wholly rid of bondages of the body, etc., as possessed of the body, seeing but an appearance of it. So this is appearance that we see. It's not in reality. Okay, another example is given. Ahir nirvalaya vilayanim vayam muktva deham tutisthati itastatas chalyamano yat kinchit pranavayuna. In reality, however, he rests discarding the body like the snake its slough, and the body is moved hither and thither by the force of the prana, just as it's listed. So, second example is the covering of a snake. When it removes its covering, he is no more attached with it. Not hibernation. That that covering is there. Maybe that time. So casting of identity himself with the body. So a knower of self knows that I am not the body, I am not the mind. Once you reach there, then there is no harm, nothing can harm you, even if it is there. So first we have to reach there. So this is the second example is given. And yes, now we go to the next. Srotasa niyate daru yatha nimnonnata sthalam Deivena niyate deho yatha kalopa bhuktishu. Now, third example is given. As a piece of wood is borne by the current to a high or low ground, so is his body carried on by the momentum of past actions to the varied experience of their fruits as these present themselves in due course. So what happens? It is like this. A vehicle was running and all of a sudden the wheel comes out. So what happens? It has some unspent momentum. So till the momentum is lost, it will run for a few minutes or seconds. So similarly, another example is given that wood is being taken by a current in a river. Srotasa niyate daru yatha nimnonnata sthalam. So sometimes it will take up and sometimes low. Daivena niyate deho yatha kalopa bhuktishu. Similarly, wherever this body is taken, he is not affected by it. It will be uh, going here and there, but he knows that he is untouched. So, prarabdha karma parikalpita vasanabhi sansari vat ati sansari vat charati bhuktishu mukta deha siddha swayam vasati sakshivat atra tushnim chakrasya mulamiva kalpa vikalpa shunyaha. So we go to the translation. The man of realization benefit of the body idea. Now, bereft of body, sorry, bereft of body idea that I have body, I have mind. He knows all these are not me. It is in the prakriti, and it acts like that. Moves amid sense enjoyments, like a man subject to transmigration through desires endangered by the prarabdha world. He himself, however, lives unmoved in the body, like a witness, free from mental oscillations, like the pivot of the potter's wheel. So the center that does not move, that remains in the same place. Only the wheel moves. So he is not disturbed by anything. It is the nature that keeps on changing. So these are various examples. Examples are given. Now we go to the next. All these can be experienced only by the grace of God, grace of gurus, and self-effort. Otherwise, it may confuse how it is possible. But we see some examples in this world also. Naivendriyani visheshu niyuktam esha naivapya ayuktam upadarshana lakshanastha naiva kriya phalam apisha ishad vikshate sa swananda sandra rasapana samutta chittaha. Yeah, we go to the translation. So it is, he neither directs the sense organs. And there is this is taken from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that ahir nirvalayim yatha tad yatha ahir niryayani balmike mrita pratyastha sharirataiva me vedam shariram shete yatha ashariro amritaha pranaha brahmaiva tejasa teja eva. So like the same example is taken from Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. (52). Okay. So naiva indriyani vishayeshu niyukta esha. So senses are not attached with objects. Naiva apayunta upadarshana lakshanastha. Like say upadarshana. So he neither directs the sense organs to their objects nor detaches them from these. So he is not, neither he interacts, not he's not detaching also. Like whatever happens, happens. He's not involved at all, but stays like an unconcerned spectator. And he has not the least regard for the fruits of actions. His mind being thoroughly inebriated with drinking the undiluted elixir of the bliss of the Atman. So it is that sun. Sun is not attached. Whatever is happening, a person may think that this eclipse, that Rahu has eaten up the sun. But he knows, sun knows that I am not attached. Whether people may think or may not, it will not affect him. As he has not the least regard for the fruits of actions, his mind being thoroughly inebriated with drinking the undiluted elixir of the bliss of the Atman. So he has already drank that nectar. So what is that? Raso Vaisaha. It is said, he is nectar himself. All the source of everything is within us. We are to identify our real self. Then all these will be seeming. It may happen, it may not happen, but you will not be affected by these. So we go to the next, or it is too much. Lakshya gatim tyaktva yas tishtati kevalatmana Shiva eva swayam sakshat ayam brahma viduttamaha. He who, giving up all considerations of the fitness or the otherwise. So lakshya alakshya gatim tyaktva. So there nididhyasana, and nididhyasana means who has withdrawn from the senses. So he is totally poised in the self, lakshya. Or alakshya. Alakshya means who is even with thinking of the objects. So he who has left both, neither he is thinking of objects, nor is trying to remove this. So he is Kevala. Kevala means onlyness. So for him, so Lakshya Alakshya Gati Tyaktva Yastisthati Kevalatmana, who lives within himself. He who, giving up all consideration of the fitness or otherwise of objects of meditation, lives as the absolute Atman, is verily Shiva himself, and he is the best among the knowers of Brahman. Now here, Brahmavit Uttamaha. So there are three, Brahmavit, Brahmavittara, Brahmavit Uttama. So superlative. But from our standpoint, he who has known Brahman is Brahmavit. But he who also interacts with the suffering or the suffering humanity is Brahmavittara. And Brahmaviduttama is who tries to remove that suffering. So, say Sri Ramakrishna. That's why when Swami Vivekananda composed that prayer for Sri Ramakrishna, he said, Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarva dharma sarupini avatar varishthaya is the superlative of avatar. So here Brahmavit Uttama, who is that? He who giving up all considerations of fitness, that means Lakshya. Lakshya means Nididhyasam and Alaksha means Vishay Chintan. So who has removed both? That means he has no touch at all. Nirvan, total nivritti, total withdrawal. So he is no more dreaming. He is no more affected by anything. It's like the snake has removed its covering. It's no more connected with it. Tyaktva virahitam yaha, he who Shuddha Atma Shakshadayam Brahmavid Uttama. So he is the supreme realized soul. Nah prahishet priyam prapya nodvijet prapya cha priyam. That means he is not elated finding whatever is favorable. And he's not dejected if something goes wrong. He knows that both cannot touch me. So this is the Brahmi Sthiti, that state of wisdom, the steady wisdom, Sthita Prajna, state of steady wisdom, Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava. What is Sthita Prajna? So all these are that sign and symptoms of a person who is steady in his wisdom. See, it is like this. He does not think that, oh, now I need to meditate. I need to not to indulge in anything else. No, he is totally free. For him, there is no rules. So we go to the next. No, it's time up. Okay, we'll stop here. Any question?
I had a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Like,
Yes.
how can I get this knowledge? Like, what should I do?
Okay. For that, we have already gone through. So we are now cultivating knowledge. So Jnana Marga. Jnana Marga says 4 things. First, you have to see Nitya Nitya Vastu. Vastu Viveka. What is Nitya Vastu? What is Anitya Vastu? What is Nitya Vastu? That remains all the time. What is Anitya Vastu? That which is temporary. So always one has to cogitate that I should be able to understand what is real and what is not real. So first, Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivek. Then Ihamutra Phalabhog Virag. Then you have to leave the sense of enjoyment that if I get this, then I'll enjoy this. And if I don't get, Iha Amutra, here and hereafter. Not only in this world, one should abandon the desire to enjoy hereafter. Then will he become a stone? No. As in Bhagavad Gita says, that whatever you are doing, offer that to God. Don't be stuck there. So Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivek first, then Ihamutra Phalabhog Virag. So first is Vivek and then Vairag. Vivek means that type of intellect by which you can segregate what is real, what is not real, what is permanent, what is temporary. So this power of discrimination. Then second, whatever comes You have to see that you don't desire something. Then how, you are a student, you want to become a, say, doctor or engineer. So what is to be done? Brahmanya dhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yah. So you have to depend on God. You have to say, okay, this is what I think, but I depend wholly on God. So this way you will not be stuck there. So Vivek and Vairagya. So Vairagya means, even we are not talking about a student. We are talking about who has gone through the experience of this world. He knows that even to be a doctor or engineer, it is nothing to me. So he has gone beyond. So for such a person, so Vivek and Vairagya. Vairagya means total renunciation. Then third is Shama Damadi Shat Sampat. Shama. Shama means the control of our sense organs. Shama. And Dama. Dama means control of our organ of action and outer organ. So it should be calm and quiet and not going here and there. Shamadama. Uparati, titiksha, shraddha, samadhan. Uparati means total withdrawal from the senses. So this is Jnana Marga we are talking about. Then Shamadama Uparati. Titiksha. Whatever happens to you, you are not to object. Titiksha, total forbearance. That in the beginning it is there. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam. All the suffering you have to just forbear, without any murmur, without any lamentation. So sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaprahitam. Even you are not to think, oh, see, he has done this. Oh, how bad. Not chinta. Chinta means worry, and vilap means that lamentation. So without all this, chinta vilapritam, sa titiksha nigaddhate. That is titiksha. So shama, dama, uparati, titiksha, and shraddha. One-pointed devotion in the words of Guru and in the words of scriptures. So shama, dama, uparati, titiksha, shraddha, and samadhan. Samadhan means complete absorption. And the fourth is mumukshutva. Mumukshutva means a strong desire to be free. It is like this. When a child is fed up with toys, he throws the toys and said, no, I don't want anything. I want to go to my mother. So a person who is totally fed up with this world, he doesn't bother about anything of this world. And he wants to go and achieve the highest, and no, not the small thing. So this is the way. Vivek, Vairagya, and Shamadamadi, 6 qualities, and Mumukshut. So 4 things. So this is in the beginning, and of course later also, yes.
Swami,
I think you are basically rediscussing again.
Yeah.
What we need to do is go back and read that topic.
Yes. Yes, Amma. Yes.
oh, yes, Maharaj, just thanking Akshay for his great question and your great answer. That is the core of all this. Thank you so much, Akshay, for triggering this.
Okay.
Thank you.
What's the difference between forbearance and transcending suffering?
Forbearance, that means you are still in suffering state. You have a strong connection with the sense and sense objects. But once you are well established in yourself, then these cannot touch you. Okay, it's like this. Suppose you are dreaming, and in dream you are suffering, but when you got up from the dream, that dream suffering cannot touch you. So a person who has come out of the dream, okay, knowledge. Say a person thinks that, this cloud, it is there is no sun, but knower knows that there is sun, only cloud has covered our perception. So one is suffering who is in ignorance. He thinks that there is no sun, but knower of self knows sun is there, only it is covered. So that first one is forbearance. Forbearance means he perceives that there is suffering, but he forbears. Why he forbears? Because he does not want to drain his energy in fighting with any ill. He does not want to dissipate his energy. But a person who is already gone beyond, he does not bother about it. So Sri Ramakrishna, like you'll see that he's suffering, but he's not suffering. Correct. Yeah. So he would bring his mind down, but otherwise his mind is soaring all the time. Correct, even that. That's why that happened. Read that one. Why he broke his arm? Because his mind was soaring high. To bring his mind down, his hand, he fell down and he broke his hand. And mother said that now you are incarnating as human being. Love human being. Narulila. We have read it. So Naralila. Do you want to read this one? It's difficult. I may not find it, but it is. He said, "Why my hands broke? Because his mind was soaring high. To bring his mind down. That is why." So, when a person is beginning the journey, on the way, he may experience various pain. So he forbears. But once it is like this, when you are starting your machine, engine, your car, so what you do? You push hard, you pump more fuel. And when it runs, then you can detach. No need of pushing more fuel, more gas. Then it runs. These are examples. Example means you have to find the similarities. Another example is given here. Like when a snake removes its skin, then it is not affected by that skin anymore. Even that somebody comes and burns that skin, it is not affected. But when that skin was there, contact was there, that affects. So many dogs die. You're not affected. But when Pocket died, that affected you. Why? Because of your contact. So, correct. Yes.
Just like
But other time, when without informing him, when surgeon touched it, immediately he cried out. Because that is normal situation. When you have contact, Vishenindriya Sanghat, then you feel it. So when you told about pocket, I was not affected because I had no connection with it. When even here it came, so I always said, okay, keep it outside. It may look like, you may say, Swami, you are heartless. But it's not heartless, it is to be detached. So this detachment can be experienced and can be practiced. It's not heartless. We say our prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tatsat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. I'll give another example. I have some problem in my eyes. And eyes are most sensitive. If you just something enters in your eye, whatever. But doctor injects me there. So it can be induced also. By anesthesia, the sense and sense perception is detached. Then that doctor can inject. So it will not affect you. So one thing is chemical is doing, same thing can be done intellectually also. And through intellect, one realizes that real self. Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Namaste, Swami.
Namaste.
Namaste, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Pranama.
Namaste, Hari Om.